Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about some of the best equips that you can use on the new Fusing Super Gogeta and Super Janemba units. We'll talk about Gogeta first, and then we'll move into Janemba after this. I'm going to change the way I do these videos. So typically what I do is I'll be in the actual game itself, and we'll be like scrolling through the list, and I'll be pulling up equips. But I think this is probably a better way to do this. It's just easier to see, and doesn't really have as much navigation that we need to do. So everything's going to be a bit more concise, I think, if we do it this way. So what I'll do is I will start talking about some equips that I think are really good for the characters that don't need specific tags or characters or team options. They're just good equips that you can use regardless of what your team for the unit looks like. Now, in terms of Gogeta in particular, again, I've only done the initial showcases for both Gogeta and Janemba as of me recording this. So I'm not exactly sure on like what the absolute best teams are for both characters, but Gogeta is in an interesting position because Gogeta is actually considered to be a ranged type character, but he's a character that I think is going to be used on a lot of melee oriented teams. And then his blue card, a special move card post fusion into Super Gogeta, is a melee blue, so it's gonna scale much better off of having high strike damage and having much more strike based equips. So still kind of experimenting with how the character is going to work best, but just keep in mind that strike based equips are probably also going to be pretty good for this character. So to start off with, we'll go through some equips that I think are really good for the unit. The first one is going to be the current PvP equip. So the PvP season just reset. This is actually going to be, I think, a very good equip for Gogeta here. It's called Grit of Conviction. Slot 1 gives 12% of base offenses. We have 12% health in slot 2, and then slot 3 is giving 10% to pure strike and blast attack, because they're a movie's character. So you're getting both base and pure offense from this for both, which I think is good because you want to have, I think, probably with Gogeta, good, not only good blast attack, but also good strike attack for the reasons I just mentioned, and HP, which is the best defensive stat in the game. So overall, this is a very good equip for Gogeta, and it doesn't have any specific conditions where you like need to run this character next to a different tag. The next equip is going to be another equip that dropped today. This is called the Monster Descends. This is a good equip because it's very basic, but I think it's decently effective here. Slot 1 and 2, you're getting 30% of base defenses each, which is very good. And then in slot 3, you can decide whether or not you want to roll a blast or strike, base blast or base strike roll for offense. For Gogeta's purposes, again, I'm still experimenting to decide which is better between blast and strike, but Gogeta is technically more of a blast character. He's got higher blast stats, so I have used a blast version of this on Gogeta, and it did seem to work pretty well, but overall, you are getting a lot of stats from this, even though it does seem pretty basic, but I think it's a decent equip for him, so it's, you know, it's pretty easy to get. You farm the new story mode, and it's pretty good. So this is the second equip. The next equip is going to be the co-op equip from when LF PyCon was released. This is the co-op equip from that period. And the reason why, even though it technically does have some conditions on it, that I'm putting it in the conditionless section of the video, is because Gogeta himself fulfills all of these conditions, right? So for slot 1, you're getting 10% HP. Slot 2, you're getting 15% base blast defense and 12% of pure blast attack when you have a movies and Otherworld Warrior character, which, you know, Gogeta is both. So you don't actually need to run this guy with anyone else in particular to get the full effects of both slots 2 and 3. Slot 3 is the same thing, just strike. So you're getting 12% of pure offenses, 15% of base defenses, and HP. Just a really, really good all-around equip. This is probably one of those equips where it's like, you might just want to run this in every situation for the character. It's just really, really good. Okay, now we're going to start to get into some equips that are going to be specific for the team build for the character. So this is going to require you run Gogeta next to some other characters that could potentially work pretty well with him. So this is equip for both GT and Saiyan characters. Slot 1, you're getting 15% of base blast defense, 10% of strike attack, 10% health. And then slot 3, 15% of base and pure blast if you have a GT and Vegeta clan battle member. So if you're running this character next to Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, this would be a really good option for him. This is called Why Don't You Pipe Down and Get Busy. So a really good equip for Gogeta, specifically if you're running him next to Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. The next one is called A Gift from the Earth. This one, oh, by the way, this is a co-op equip, so you're gonna have to buy this from the dual coin shop if you don't have it. Same thing with this one. This is a co-op equip, and then this one that we're about to talk about is also a co-op equip. This equip released when, I believe it was Tree of Might Goku released. This was the co-op equip for his season. Slot 1, you're getting 10% to base health. Slot 2, you're getting 10% to base strike defense, and then 12% to pure strike defense if a battle member other than this character is both Saiyan and Sagas from the movies. So this one might be a little bit tougher to get active just because there really aren't multiple movie Saiyans that you're really going to run next to this guy. But if in the future, for example, that does become a thing, we end up getting, I don't know, or we could just say, like, I don't know, what if like LF Red Broly ends up getting some crazy unique equip and all of a sudden you're running him next to Gogeta. This could become active at that point. Slot 3, 15% to base blast, and then 15% to pure blast if you have a Saiyan Sagas from the movies character. So this might not be too good right now just because this condition is pretty strict. This was obviously, you're meant to run this with like Turles plus Tree of Might Goku and you get the condition for this. But right now it's a little bit tough to get, but still a really good equip if you can get the conditions active here. Next we have For Your Sake, I hope it wasn't the Cavalry. This is another co-op equip. This is 10% special move damage slot 1, 25% to base blast defense and strike defense in both slots 2 and 3 respectively, and then you're also getting 10% to pure offenses when 3 battle members are movies. So if you're running a full movies team, that's all you need to do to get this active. So it's not that tough to do. You run Super Gogeta next to 13 and the Gammas. You run Super Gogeta next to Janemba and 13. You run Super Gogeta next to the Gammas and, you know, 13 or something, right? So there's a bunch of movies characters you can run. You can run next to Gotenks. Gotenks is also a movies character. So yeah, this is not that tough to do. And I think the reward on this equip is pretty good. Pure offense, base defense, special move damage. Special move damage can really help the Gogeta finish off his opponents with the blue card. Next one is, I believe, yet another co-op equip. So a lot of co-op equips here. If you haven't figured it out yet, you can't win. This is the Garlic Jr. equip. Now, this is a purely offensive equip. This is 10% to base offenses in slot 1. We're getting 12% to base strike and base blast, and then 12% to pure strike and pure blast when episode Sagas from the movies and regen, and Sagas from the movies and powerful opponent is a battle member. So luckily for us, JANEMBA actually does fulfill all the conditions for this equip. So if you're running Super Gogeta next to JANEMBA, this could be a really nice equip to use. So in total, you're getting 22% base offenses and 12% to pure offenses. That's a lot of offensive stats on this equip. This equip is giving you a lot of offense. So this is pretty good if you want more of an offensive-based equip. The next equip is going to be a Fusion Warrior specific equip called Fusion Reborn. This is an awakened equip, so you have to go through that mind-numbing process. Slot 1 is base blast defense 20%, slot 2 is base strike defense 20%, and then slot 3 you're getting 15% to base blast attack, and then 6% to pure blast attack for each Fusion Warrior battle member. The unfortunate thing about this equip is Fusion Warriors has never been a blast-centric team, and it is not a blast-centric team right now, but you could kind of probably get away with just throwing Gogeta on a Fusion Warrior team, run next to like Kefla and Ultra Super Vegeta or something, because Fusion Warriors really, I mean, I guess you could also run Gotenks, the new red Gotenks. Fusion Warriors is just always, probably forever, will be a strike team, but this is giving you such powerful offense here. Did I say 6% blast? I meant 5%. This is giving you such powerful offenses in slot 3 that you probably can get away with just running this even on a strike build for Fusion Warriors. So this is a pretty good equip for Gogeta if you decide to run him on a blast, or on a Fusion Warrior team for blast purposes. Here's another good one. This is an awakened equip for Turles. Well, this is a Turles awakened equip, not for Turles. Slot 1, you're getting 15% to base strike defense, 20% to base blast defense, and then slot 3, you're getting 15% to base blast attack, and then this one is 6% to pure blast per episode Sagas from the movies battle member. So you're running a full movies team, shouldn't be that tough to do. There's a lot of viable movies characters now. You're going to get a ton of offense from this for blast attack. So this is another one of those equips where it's like, if you're running a full movies team, you might as well just run this, right? There's no reason not to. And then lastly, I kind of threw this one on here. This has been a staple of the Awakened equip, I guess, arsenal for many characters for a long time. Useless against my Super Saiyan Blue form. This is a very old Awakened equip, but it is still pretty good. Slot 1, you're getting 18% of base strike defense. Slot 2, you're getting 15% of base blast attack, 15% of base blast defense. And then in slot 3, depending on the build that you're going with, you can either get 15% to Pure Blast or 15% to Pure Strike if you're running a God Key character or a Vegeta Clan character, depending on which stat you want to go for. So pretty good equip. Again, nothing like, you know, incredible from this, but it's just still solid all around. So those really are the equips I would say stand out to me for Super Gogeta. Now keep in mind, next week we will have co-op reset, so we will be getting a new co-op equip. I would assume that should benefit Gogeta, so keep your eyes out for that one. But as of right now, these are the equips I would say you should probably try and get if you want a good listing of equips ready to go for your Gogeta. All right, so moving on to the JANEMBA side of things. JANEMBA, I think, has a noticeably more amount of equipment options available to him. I think it's mostly just because his tags are a bit more diverse, right? He's like on regen, he's on powerful opponent, he's on movies, so he's on more of these like wide teams that have more specific equips for their tags as opposed to like Saiyans, Sun Family, right? So let's start once again with the equips that don't necessarily need you to run the character with other tags. First, I can get rid of this. First, we have this one. If we end up looking at an equip that we've already talked about, I'm just going to quickly go through it and just exit off the list. So we've already talked about this in the section for Gogeta. This is the current PvP equip, also a really good option for JANEMBA. This is the newly released unique equip that's available through the new event that you can farm to get the Z power for Gogeta and JANEMBA. With JANEMBA being a strike character, you probably want to go for the strike version of this, but this is also a pretty solid equip for JANEMBA as well. Here is one of my favorite Awakened equips because JANEMBA is on Weapon Wielder. You can actually make use of this on JANEMBA. Slot 1, you're getting 10% special move damage, 10% health restoration. Slot 2, you're getting 32% to base strike, which is the one you're going to pick for JANEMBA, and then you get 12% health. Both health and health restoration are the two strongest defensive stats in the game. So when you have equips that have both of those stats on them, the equip automatically becomes good. On top of that, you get decent special move damage and you get pretty good base offenses on this. So this equip has been one of my favorites since it was released last year, and it's still very, very good. The next one is actually going to be the co-op equip for Ultra Kid Buu's release. So it's quite old at this point. This is a pre-5th anniversary equip. Slot 1, base strike defense 15%, health restoration plus 10%. Slot 2, you're getting 35% to base strike attack, and then slot 3, 10% to health. So the only real point of criticism I have for this equip is 15% to base strike defense is pretty low by this day and age, and this, you know, the standard that we have now for like the stat spread that we expect to get on equips. That's just because it's an old equip, but I think this is actually still pretty damn good. Again, you have the golden combo of both health and health restoration. And then you also have some defense added on kind of like as a bonus. And then you have his main offense, which is base strike. So I actually think this equip is quite good for JANEMBA. Really, really good. And it doesn't require you have or you fulfill any additional conditions for this. Now, here's an equip that is going to be more so focused around defense. I have not done any showcases for JANEMBA outside of the initial video, but I think JANEMBA is positioned in a way to where you probably could make him work as like almost a purely defensive character. This is obviously going to depend on how you want to build JANEMBA. So if you wanted to be more of an offensive character, this is not the best equip to use for him. But this is a very powerful equip for him if you want to build him defensively. So I'm going to be introducing some good defensive options for him throughout this section of the video. So if you're not really interested in like having a defensive oriented JANEMBA, then you could skip this part. But this is a really good equip for a defensive JANEMBA. 15% to special move damage, 10% to health and health restoration, and then 15% to pure defenses when powerful opponent and movies is a battle member. So JANEMBA himself fulfills this. So he doesn't even really need anything else. Like he is gonna get this up for himself. So if you're running this guy next to just like a random other bunch of characters, this is a condition that doesn't require you run like other characters to get this, because JANEMBA himself fulfills this. So pretty good defensive equip for JANEMBA here. This one is going to be really tough to get right now. This is Gloria locked in. By the way, this is a co-op equip for when Android 13 released. Here's another co-op equip. This is for, I believe it's from when Yellow Glorio dropped. This is a co-op equip for Weapon Wielder. Slot 1, 10% special move damage, 10% health restoration, and then slots 2 and 3 are 15% to base offenses and then 10% to pure offenses if you have another Weapon Wielder character on the team. Weapon Wielder, I mean, we could open the list here. It really is just like Ultra Rose you would probably consider using next to Janemba right now. I guess the Gammas do count. I don't know if you're running 2 yellows right now. I would say clearly the Gammas are the best option on this tag that you would realistically consider running next to Janemba. Like Kid Goku's really good, but you're not running Kid Goku next to Janemba on any build, right? Yeah, I guess it would be the Gammas, but I don't really know how good double yellow would work. So it's really tough to get this condition fulfilled for this, but I just wanted to mention this because it is a very strong equip. The offenses you get from this, combined with health restoration and blue card damage, like it's a pretty good equip. I think this is solid if you can get it to work somehow. Here's another strictly defensive option for Janemba. 20% base blast defense, 12% base health, 15% to strike defense, and then 15% to pure strike defense if a movie's character other than this character is a battle member. So if you run Janemba next to another movie's character, you can get this active. This is probably not as good of a defensive equip as this, but if you want to run like a super defensive Janemba, you can run this and you can run this, and then you could run something we'll talk about in a second as well. But the next one is going to be Too Bad number 16. By the way, this is a PvP equip from when Metal Cooler dropped, so it should be available in the Equipment Metal shop, I believe. If it's not available now, it will be soon, because we're about at the point where this should be added. So this equip is if you're running Janemba next to Ultra Cell, you would use this. That's really the only situation, but I always like to just kind of point this equipment out and highlight this because it is very good. It is more of a blast equip, but the last slot is 15% to pure offenses, both of them. That's really good. 25% of base blast defense, and then some blast attack in slot 1. So it's good, right? I mean, I think you just run this if you run Ultra Cell next to Janemba, but I don't really know how often you're going to be doing that, but I figured I'd just mention this. This is a pretty good equip. This is, by the way, this is a co-op equip. And this is a co-op equip as well. This is from when LF Yellow Blue Gogeta got a Zenkai Awakening at the beginning of this year. 25% base strike defense, 12% to base blast attack, 12% to base strike attack, and then 12% to pure offenses if another battle member is God Key and movies. So this is an equip you would want to run in a pretty specific build. I'm thinking of like, you run this guy next to one of the 2 Fusion Zamasus, the red one or the ultra purple one, and then the other character you're running is maybe like Android 13, right? And then Janemba's kind of your third character on that team. That would allow you to get the conditions for this, and it's pretty good. I mean, you're getting some, just extra defense in slot 1, pure and base offenses here. Should work for a pretty good equip on Janemba. The next one is actually an equip that I did use in my initial showcase for Janemba, the Unexpected Assault Awakened equip. Pretty good. 20% to base strike defense, 10% to special move damage, health restoration, and 38% to base strike attack. It's pretty basic, but it does get the job done. I think it's pretty good for Janemba. We already talked about this in the Gogeta section, so I'm not going to go through it again, but this is a pretty good equip if you're running a full team of movies characters to get the full effects of this active. Same thing with the Garlic Jr. equip. This is a purely offensive equip, and the good thing about this is Janemba actually fulfills all the conditions for this, so we actually could have moved this over to the beginning, because these are conditions that Janemba doesn't need to be relying on any other character to get active. Janemba just does all this by himself, so he's getting a lot of offenses just from this. Okay, and then the next equip is, I think, the final defensive equip for Janemba. So we talked about a few specifically like purely defensive equips for him. This is another one you could run. This is 10% to health, 10% health restoration in slot 1, 15% to base strike and blast defense for slots 2 and 3, and then 12% to pure strike and blast defense if movies other than this character and powerful opponent other than this character is a battle member. So I'm thinking of 13. 13 fulfills these conditions. So if you run Janemba next to 13, who probably is just his best friend, this will be a good defensive equip for Janemba. And you could also just run this on 13 also, right? This could be a good equip for 13. You could actually run 2 of these, one on Janemba, one on 13 if you really wanted a lot of defense. The next equip is going to be the same equip I talked about in the section with Gogeta. The only difference, obviously, with this is going to be that since Gogeta fulfills all these conditions by himself, JANEMBA won't, right? So in order to get these conditions fulfilled, you have to run JANEMBA next to Gogeta. And if you do that, all these conditions will be fulfilled, but JANEMBA can't do it on his own. Gogeta can do it on his own. So this is going to require you run Gogeta next to JANEMBA to get this active. But this is also a really good equip for JANEMBA if you can get it next to the Gogeta. And then lastly, I just threw this on here as kind of like almost like a last minute throw in here. This is an awakened equip for regen characters. Slot 1, you're getting 18% of base defenses. Slot 2, you'd want to roll the strike, the base strike for JANEMBA, 16%. And then slot 3, you would obviously want to roll for the pure strikes. You get 6% to pure strike per regen battle member. So you'd have to run a full regen team, which actually isn't too bad right now, right? You have Cell's good. Ultra Fusion Zamasu is good. Red Fusion Zamasu is good. Metal Cooler got buffed, although I don't know how often you're going to want to run him. So you do have at least a few really good regen characters that are viable right now. So potentially it could be decent, right? But that is it. That is going to cover all the equips I think you could realistically look at as being usable on JANEMBA right now. Again, a lot of it depends on the team builds you're using, what characters you have available to you, and how you want to build the character, right? JANEMBA, again, I think you could build him defensively if you wanted to, but I would probably gear him more towards being offensive with maybe secondary defensive. Maybe you run 1 defensive equip and 2 offensive equips, and that kind of balances out the way that you want to run this character. So let me know what you guys think of this equipment guide for Legends Fest 2025 Part 1 characters, Synchro Gauge, Super Gogeta, and LF Super JANEMBA. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one.